All right, Sam, is everything ready?
Yep, I'm ready whenever you are.
All right. All right, so I created the true tier list recently for expand and max speed. Expand and max speed basically are any settings where the machine's drift to cell stat will remain at 1.0 or less to prevent snaking from being too overpowered. As for some ground rules first on how I made the tier list. As I mentioned earlier, it's based on course total time for all 26 treks. My methodology is basically I took a look at the versus staff go spreadsheets. Then sort of estimated like any potential time savings for any unoptimized runs. And then, especially for cases where it's really close, I then took a look at the machine stats and then decided from there. Yeah, so I'd say the lists are fairly accurate. I'm less confident about the no side attack one because, as you can see here, uh, it's not filled out yet. So for any that don't have a full set of times, I had to predict their best times and then sum them up and hope I got close. All right, so without further ado, any guesses on? I'll be doing the bottom 10 machines first for the no side attack tier list for the expanded max speed. Any guesses on who is 32nd?
Well, the obvious answer is Silver Rat.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing last place. I'm doing 10th worst right now.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let me make sure I have this right. So 10th worst is King Meteor at actually D tier. So yeah, King Meteor definitely held back by his weight. He only weighs like let me show it here first. He only weighs like 860 kilograms, I believe. Has practically no advanced tech capability. Although its booster is pretty good. It has a pretty long boost duration of 1.8 seconds. Reaches a pretty high speed with its boost. Its top speed is fairly poor, unfortunately, for it. Its strafe is very poor, so difficult to do shift boost with. I personally really like using a machine that handles really well and gains a lot from dash plates, but its poor top speed and very poor weight sort of limits its potential. Although it's certainly good at certain tracks, I would say like split oval perhaps or double branches especially. It could probably get a low 1 minute time in drift highway too. Any thoughts, Minx or Sam?
Not really. It just seems like kind of a pretty standard affair.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I
really
can't.
test King Meteor too much. It was kind of underutilized vehicle even, throughout the 20 years. But yeah,
All right. So King Meteor's 32nd. Next up is Pink Spider, right below King Meteor at 32nd. Which might be a surprise, but after looking at its stats, it's generally slower than King Meteor. It has a relatively decent top speed, but its boosting top speed is pretty poor, below 1600 max before taking into account your dash plates. It can sort of do an MTS, but it's still like not that effective. Um, but strafe does help it with doing shift boost. So now I'm already kind of second guessing myself, but I'll stick to my guns. I think the King Meteor's considerably stronger booster with its longer duration will overcome any shift boosting that Pink Spider can do. All right. If nobody has anything to say, add to Pink Spider. I'll get on to the next machine.
I just wanted to
Well,
say
I guess
I was
something to
kind
be
of
noted about Pink Spider is the wobbliness. It's one of the few machines that has that wingspan issue.
That is true. Yeah, it's a longer machine than most, which gives it trouble. And Thunder Road is one of the courses. Maybe undulation especially. Yeah, they can still do shift boost, but the wobbliness can hold it back in certain courses like that, which is unfortunate. Were you gonna say something, Sam?
I was just gonna say that I was expecting King and Queen Meteor to be side by side on the tier list.
Well, Queen Meteor, even though her booster is weaker, she has some more upsides. Mainly, she weighs considerably more, so she's higher up as a little hint
A little
there.
foreshadowing.
Yeah, I mean, even though they're similar machines, like stats wise, they have some notable differences.
Okay, cool.
But their booster length is the same, but the strength is not. All right, so that was Pink Spider at 33rd. 34th is White Cat. Let me bring her up here. So White Cat, what can I say? At least at 100%, and actually it'll be good time to show this view instead. At 100%, she has decent top speed. It's her booster top speed is kind of below average, but what really holds her back at 100% is the
Tucker,
drift
thank you to all
acceleration.
of our patrons, all of the viewers and
Yes.
listeners out there for supporting us through 300 freaking episodes. That is wild. We're really excited to hit
I
this milestone.
accidentally
We're going
played
to,
a video just a
do
sec as
little
I turned that
Q&A,
off.
A little AMA, just kick back and answer some questions.
Yeah, I
from
was
our
hoping that
friends
wasn't
and
me.
folks out there in the community. We solicited some questions from our patrons.
Yeah, my Bose earbuds has a function where you can play videos, and I accidentally did that.
No worries.
Yep. So back to what I was saying. The main thing that holds back White Cat, other than its really twitchy handling, which I really, really hate, is its drift acceleration at 100%. Her base drift acceleration is over 1, which means as you go up the settings towards max speed, the more speeds it'll lose from drifting and quick turning. MRC, this is for vanilla. And I'll respond to your messages in just a second there. Let me move the window here. So yeah, if you look at this table here, her lowest allowable setting for expanded max speed is 74. So she still has 1,030 top speed. I mean, below average at that point. With her somewhat average acceleration of 0.45. And then her booster top speed here, it's not that much lower. So I think currently she's ranked, well, the full. I feel like her times in the spreadsheet are kind of mostly unoptimized. So I think she still has some room for improvement for the main spreadsheet. But yeah, that's White Cat in a nutshell. Just kind of underpowered. Weighs more than these true machines. Just doesn't have as much speed. And it's MTS. It can sort of MTS, I think, but it's not that great. MRC is Queen Meteor's higher boost strength offset by definitely. King Meteor's booster is considerably stronger because it weighs less than 1,000 kilograms. All right, where was I here? So, can I go on to the next machine, or you guys haven't have anything to add?
Think you're good?
No, I mean, White Cat is just kind of underpowered in every single category. That's just why it, falls in the last, tier.
Yeah. I'm sure she's decent at tracks with the law of dash plates, especially if you lower her settings, but otherwise, even then, she wouldn't be reaching very high speeds. All right. So next up, under White Cat, is Groovy Taxi down in E tier. Groovy Taxi, really underpowered in terms of top speed and booster top speed. What kind of saves it is its weight, I think. I think its weight is not that bad for being this low, 1280. I believe that's the heaviest machine so far, so it'll benefit quite a bit from advanced tech in general. Yeah, boosting top speed is, I think, slightly less than White Cat's at under 1600. Top speed is below average at 1025. And its acceleration, it's actually better than White Cat, surprisingly. Slightly better, but not by much. It has poor strafe, but if you're skilled enough, you can still get enough shift boost to work with it. Yeah, not much to say about Groovy Taxi. Its MTS is not that great because of that poor strafe. And honestly, it handles well, but it's not a machine I enjoy because of its poor booster. All right, after Groovy Taxi, we've got Bloodhawk.
What a fall from grace.
Right. Even in the expanded max speed category where it can gain some speed from drifting and quick turning, it's just so slow, man. Very like bottom 5 top speed minimum for sure. And then its boosting is among the worst, like second or third worst, I think. 1567. That's not good at all. It does have some strengths. Above average acceleration. And it's a good time for me to talk about the quirkiness of machines with a base acceleration of between 0.5 to 0.6, but not 0.6. Basically, those machines are less of that machine's max speed or top speed are less affected by changing its settings. So for example, here its top speed at 100% is 1008, but at 66%, it only goes down by 14, so which is less compared to other machines, most other machines. It's one of those machines with a drift to cell of greater than 1.0, I believe. So it loses speed when quick turning at 100%, but starts gaining it once you reduce its settings. It has a decent booster duration, 1.7, which is the same as Titan G4s. So there's that. It can eventually start benefiting from MTS chainings, but you'll be barely saving any time. And
That's pretty interesting that it's capable of MTS training, though.
Yeah, it saved me a few tenths at most at Spyro when I used it, but it's useful, but it'll barely save any time, and if you mess it up, you'll probably lose that time anyway. So I won't be doing that much more often with Bloodhawk. It's definitely one of my least favorite machines to use because it's also very hard to use with how slippery it is. I think it's as slippery as Black Ball in terms of its drift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult to use machine. There's not really any reward for doing any of its mechanics. Like it's a slider, but it's like it doesn't even have really an MTS. Like it has the function of doing it, but it's not much there.
Right.
And it's it has no speed retention basically. So like even if you do reach a high speed, it just like drops even without the gas on.
Yep. With its somewhat high acceleration, its speed retention isn't that great. So it's probably best used to go all in with the acceleration. most runs are 100%, so there's still time to be saved for sure. Let's see. Did I want to bring up anything? All right. So next up, after Bloodhawk, we have Magic Seagull. Oh, Magic Seagull. I mean, performance-wise, if you look at its stats, its top speeds, you think it'd do better. Let me bring him up here. Magic Seagull. But unfortunately, the thing that holds it back the most is it can't do shift boost off the edge of the track because it's just too wide, unfortunately. So that kills its potential time savings from Trident. Without it, it would have been maybe high D tier, maybe even low C tier. It's got a decent weight, 1330, which is the heaviest so far. Acceleration is decent. It has the base of cell of 0.5, so you'd probably want to set it to its lowest allowable setting of... Well, maybe not the lowest. 41 is probably too low. Yeah, loses like 25 top speed there. Let me set it back to 100. But yeah, it handles great, but its MTS is non-existent. And it's just slow too, like probably about as slow as Bloodhawk.
So that thing, it can't MTS like at all?
Barely, if any, yeah.
It's interesting how the shape of the machine affects its performance in this game.
Yeah, it's strange how it really does affect how the machine handles with the ground, and especially with shift boosting.
Yeah.
If the machine is like, I think the exact figure is about, once you hit about 1.5 width, that's when it starts having issues with getting shift boost, and then any higher than that, then it's almost impossible to do off the edge shift boost. Although it's decent in split oval because it can turn in the air fairly well, I think. I didn't mention the strafe stat here, but yeah, split oval is definitely one of its stronger courses. But yeah, not much else to say about Magic Seagull. It's just underpowered and can't do most advanced tech. But it's definitely a popular machine, I feel, for beginners and just to pilot in general.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so after Magic Seagull,
We're
I
on
think
the
might be a...
bottom 4 now, right?
Yes, we are. And this one might come as a surprise. Fourth worst is Space Angler. So it's definitely commonly thought as like one of the worst machines alongside Silverette, but with the additional settings granted by the expanded max speed category, and just looking at its stats, I feel it outperforms the other three machines. Useless. I mean, if it was just 100% max speed, it'd definitely be the second worst machine for sure. Maybe even the worst, but at least second worst. But if you but setting it to 70%, I'll show it's 100%. Actually, let me use this over here. So yeah, I mean, its highest top speed is at 99%, but yeah, its top speed 1050 true, booster top speed 1682. Even if you go back down to 70%, I mean, it loses a decent amount of top speed, but you'll gladly sacrifice for the acceleration. And its booster top speed is only 11 less compared to 99% Space Angler. So I'm pretty sure that would really help it, help it in the spreadsheet once there are runs done for it at around the 70% range. And then you probably want to go 50 on courses like Sonic Oval, really. But yeah, it has the worst acceleration in the game, which kills its potential, alongside with its very low weight of, what was it, 910, I think? Yeah, 910. Doesn't have much of an MTS. Has among the worst aerial cornering, so I mean, which isn't gonna be too beneficial anyways, but still. Its main strength, however, other than its top speed, is its boosting top speed. At 100%, it reaches 1680, which isn't bad, but you gotta get there first. And with that acceleration, it won't matter most of the time, unfortunately. Poor Space Angler. And the other thing I want to mention is when it strafes, it changes direction quite a bit, which is really annoying for me. So it's kind of difficult, at least for me, to pilot, um, which might make shift boosting trickier as well. But it gains practically nothing from shift boost. Probably even if you increase its acceleration, it's still not going to get you much.
Yeah, on top of just being an all around like bad in most categories, it is difficult to control. It really, yeah, like its boost top speed, it's its only redeeming quality. Everything else is like bottom of the barrel. It's like really bad. Zipper speed, you get like, I don't know how much it is. It's like less than 100 or something. It's like super
Prob-
low.
Not even 100, I think, at 99%. Yeah, it's pathetic. Yeah, its best course is definitely longer ones to take advantage of its, higher top speeds. Surface slide is pretty decent as well, but anything with dash plates or short tracks, it's almost a lock for bottom 5 in the game.
Well, and with its light speed, like dropping off ledge, it seems like you're just like floating there forever. It has like no drop speed.
Yeah. Yeah, floatiness is only handy in like a couple of courses, and even then, certain machines can get around that with it by going fast enough and doing side attack dives or whatever. Um, all right, so that's enough about Space Angler. We know it kind of sucks. 39th is Super Piranha. So the first thing that I think about Super Piranha is her short boost duration of just, I think it's 1.25. Yep. So that's only a tenth of a second more than Wild Goose is. So that holds her back in courses with dash plates, which there are a lot of courses with a lot of dash plates. Her acceleration 0.53, that's above average. Top speed 1024. It's even with that acceleration, that's kind of slow. Boosting top speed is, I mean, whatever. I mean, barely better than Falcon's. I mean, considering the acceleration, it's not half bad, but still, that's you're gonna need more. You're gonna need something extra if you're gonna place higher in the tier list if with that boosting top speed. And her cornering is fantastic, really good, handling, good grip, very sensitive steering though, so that can make things tricky on more narrow tracks. But yeah, she can't MTS at all, and yeah, just very underpowered in general. All right. With that, then all that's left is Cosmic Dolphin and Silver Rat, and obviously that means Cosmic Dolphin is second to last, and unexpectedly or expectedly, Silver Rat is last. I guess I'll quickly show the stats of these machines. Cosmic Dolphin, although it has its boost duration is longer, Not now that I think about it, maybe Cosmic Dolphin should be higher. Well, I'll just leave it as that. It does have considerably lower acceleration, and its top speed is lower. No, if I want to change my mind, I'll do that later. But yeah, Cosmic Dolphin. Other than its boosting top speed, which is okay, it's just underpowered with everything else. It's very light, can't MTS, and honestly, not much more to say other than that. It also has a weak body too, so it can't take advantage of mines.
Yeah, so just pretty bad overall in every aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's got a good theme song.
Oh yeah, its song is very, very nice. I mean, it's
True.
catchy. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I like it personally. And then Silver Rat, top speed in the game, very lightweight. Can't really MTS at all. Short boost duration, 1.3 seconds. Its boosting is actually not half bad. 1640 kilometers per hour actually ranks it in the 20s or so. So if you can empty boost well, it can do some work in boost laps. But in most cases, it just, with its poor top speed, it just can't keep up with the rest of the cast. But it's fun to use, and that booster sound is very, very loud indeed.
Yeah, it sounds like a broken down car. It's pretty interesting. And
Yeah.
one thing, I guess, this goes into the body shape. Since it's such a small vehicle, doing off-track shift boots is kind of hard. You're more likely to fall off the track because there's just not the body length.
Yeah, I
is
noticed. I
true.
noticed that when making the Silver Rat tasks on CTT, it was they're way more precise.
Yeah, I've never thought of a machine size affecting shift boost in that way, but it does make sense because then there's less room for error, basically. Well, yeah, no surprise here. Silver Rat being in last place. So now we go up to 31st, the machine that just escaped the bottom 10. We have Wonder Wasp at the top of D tier. So Wonder Wasp, Skivik has been putting a lot of work with Wonder Wasp recently, which probably affected its ranking here. It's light, less than 1,000 kilograms, and it loses speed when quick turning at 100%. But its boosting top speed is pretty strong at 1681, so approaching 1700. That's pretty good. But yeah, with its low weight, can't do advanced tech very well, so that holds it back for the most part. Plus how it loses speed when quick turning. If we go to its lowest allowed setting at 66, it loses nearly 30 top speed and about 40 boosting top speed, but then it can benefit from quick turning. So I'm sure that'll be a worthy trade-off in shorter courses or courses like Spiral where there are a ton of turns. Definitely not one of my favorite machines to pilot because of its twitchy handling and how it steers. It's drifty handling as well, but yeah, definitely not as bad as I thought once I really looked into it.
Yeah, the precision you need to get the double zippers with that control of how sensitive it is quite difficult.
Definitely. That's a good point as
And
well.
and I guess this another thing that Wonder Wasp was kind of known as is just being the poor man's Twin Narita.
Yeah. Or even the poor man's Mighty Typhoon too, if
Yeah,
we're
I guess
making
you put that
comparisons
in the
like
category
that.
too.
All right, so after Wonder Wasps, so that's D tier finished right now. So now we'll be entering the C tier. And first up, we have Mad Wolf at the bottom of C tier. So Mad Wolf, so definitely by far the heaviest machine so far at 1490. Machines can typically start gaining serious speed from shift boosts and dives at that weight. But Mad Wolf has a number of unfortunate weaknesses, namely its booster duration, just 1.2 seconds, which is pathetic, unfortunately. Holds it back a lot. Its top speed is above average. I think it's even more than Rainbow Phoenix's 1050. And its boosting top speed, it's decent at 1660, but with its short boost duration, you need to be really nailing your MT boost to get the most out of it. Acceleration is below average, not too much better than Gallant's or any G4 based custom machine. So it's not winning any awards there. Very poor strafe. MTS is non existent for sure. And very importantly, at 100% at least, it loses speed when quick turning. So I imagine for the expanded max speed category, you oftentimes want to set it to a lower setting. Yeah, so for its weight, it's very, very low on the list for sure. And definitely not a machine I use often because it's just of its twitchy handling, its boost duration. But I might do some runs at lower settings, especially in courses like Spiral, where it'll start, or it might not gain. I mean, it'll gain some speed at 77%, but yeah. Yeah, just looking at the stats here, its top speed at 77% is 1036. Booster top speed is about 20 less. So to sacrifice some of the top speed for gaining some speed on quick turns, I'm sure that can help it cut a good amount of times in a number of tracks. But if will anyone do that? Who knows? All right, so now we enter the top 30. Mad Wolf was 30th. 30th place, we've got Rolling Turtle. So Rolling Turtle, very lightweight machine. Has a decent booster, all things considered. Rolling Turtle. Generally want to only use Rolling Turtle at 100%, although in shorter courses, it might benefit with reducing the settings some. Body is somewhat durable, but still not the most durable. Might be able to take advantage of mines and boost laps potentially. Oh, actually with its weight, probably not, to be honest. Top speed just under 1040, but a decent boosting top speed of 1672. So it can hold its own on boost laps. MTS doesn't really have one. Yeah, I mean, it's not underpowered for sure, but its low weight holds it back, is the gist of Rolling Turtle. All right, so after Rolling Turtle, we have Deep Claw. Surprisingly, Rolling Turtle and Deep Claw are very similar machines stats-wise. We go over here and let me do this so I can show you.
There's a question from chat.
Because it weighs less than 1,000 kilograms, MRC, its boosting top speed is 1670, I believe I mentioned, which is above average. Yeah, it adds about close to 100 kilometers per hour of boosting top speed. So it's nothing to, it's very significant, really. All right, so let me enlarge in this text here. Very similar weight, just under 1,000. Top speed only off by a few kilometers per hour. Boosting top speed. Deep Claw has the slight edge with boosting, while Rolling Turtle has the slight edge in top speed. And then acceleration, exactly the same. This is definitely one of my criticisms of GX, where there are too many sets of machines that are too similar to each other. So that's why they're next to each other in the tier list, because their stats are essentially the same. I gave Deep Claw the edge because it had a slightly longer boost duration of 1.6. Slightly better booster true, I think, matters quite a bit.
It's kind of interesting that you say that so many machines are similar, just because that's one thing I always hear about GX is how different all the machines feel.
Yeah, if you look at the roster as a whole, there are very different types of machines with completely different handling and styles, but there are some groups of machines of 2 or 3 where they're practically identical in terms of performance, at least. They handle somewhat differently, but they both can't MTS. They both have sharp steering. They both handle well. Or both good for beginners. But looking at it at a performance metric, they're practically identical. Well, not identical, but close enough that they're identical.
Okay.
MRC, how much in terms of boost strength would you reckon the under 1,000 kilogram bonus render? I mean, I know in terms of speed, it gives at least 90 extra boosting top speed. In terms of how that would affect its position in the tier list, at least a full tier, maybe even 2 tiers, for sure. So, for example, if Bloodhawk had that bonus, it would definitely be at least D tier, maybe the top of D tier, potentially, instead of E tier. And I know I did this test with Super Piranha. I don't have the exact figures, but yeah, like I said earlier, it gives her an extra 90 in boosting top speed. All right, so after Deep Claw, we have Wild Goose. So Wild Goose, the strangest, most odd machine to handle, the most quirky machine for sure in terms of handling opinion. Has decent weight, 1,600, can certainly do a lot with that, but it's certainly held back by its odd strafing. That certainly holds back its shift boosting potential off the edge for sure. I mean, I'm sure somebody could get good at it and get a number of shift boosts with it, but with its 18 strafe only, it's certainly limited in terms of shift boosting, at least. Excuse me. Shortest boost duration, 1.1 seconds. With its boosting top speed of 1650, which is fine, but not great. It has trouble with boost laps as well. Top speed is okay at 1,049, but nothing to write home about. And acceleration is whatever. But yeah, only reason it's that high is because of its weight. Otherwise, it would have likely been at the bottom of the tier of the current tier, C tier, or maybe drop it into D tier.
It seems like it was a machine really meant for high acceleration. So because
Right.
it's the outer space meteor stream staff Ghost, correct?
Yep.
And it's like when you play against that Ghost, it's set at a high acceleration. So I think that's like kind of how they wanted to use it, because at 100%, it's just like feels really off.
Yeah. It would definitely be appropriate to give it like high tier or top tier acceleration with that boost duration, because otherwise its booster is just very, very bad in general. It does have a decently strong body. Could definitely take advantage of mines, but that's only in select courses, of course. I guess it has somewhat of an MTS, but it's very limited. But yeah, Wild Goose, we love you, but you're just kind of bad, unfortunately. Definitely a disappointment with its weight that other machines can do a lot with, which we'll get you later. Who joined us just now? Curiosity. Five bats in. I don't know if he's added to the voice group, but if you want to do that, Sam.
Yeah, he has permission.
Okay. All right. Yep. Feel free to chime in whenever, Five bat. Welcome. All right. So Wild Goose was 27th. In 26th, we have the other Meteor, Queen Meteor. What really helps the expanded max speed category, I feel, helps Queen Meteor a lot, because of its acceleration. It barely loses top speed as you reduce its setting. So I'll just show her 73% settings stats here. Still has decent top speed. Well, its top speed is decent for its acceleration, 1034. Her weakness is definitely her boosting top speed. It only reaches 1580 here. But she'll be able to at least not lose too much speed from quick turning, and her acceleration would be well above average at this setting for sure. Weighs over 1,000, so its weight helps against most of the other machines below her. And oh yeah, her other main strength is her booster duration, so she's pretty good at long pipe, split oval, any courses with a lot of dash plates. But it's definitely not my favorite machine to use because of her poor booster, and her handling is kind of weird, to be honest.
Yeah, the funny thing about the boost duration is like we're playing with all the other machines. You're used to MT boosting kind of at a rhythm, and that one always gets me out of rhythm because it's like that slight extra length to it that always gets me and jam it up.
Yep, more than Titan G4, but slightly less than Black Bull, slightly less than, well, much less than Fat Shark, and less than the Thunderbolt V2 booster as well. So yeah, it definitely takes some adjustment, and for sure. But yeah, I feel like I might do some expanded max speed runs with her on any tracks where it can be improved. Feels like she has some room for improvement there for sure. But otherwise, ultimately her low weight limits her potential. So we've got, after Queen Meteor in 26, we have Rainbow Phoenix right above Queen Meteor. I don't know what are your guys' thoughts on this, whether it's too low, but it used to be ranked much higher because of that one Rainbow Phoenix main just pushing it very, very hard. But ultimately, as poor weight, 1080, and it's also too wide to do off the edge shift boost too. So it loses a ton of time in Trident, which by itself cost it several positions in the tier list. Definitely a great beginner machine. Decent top speed, 1050. Booster is fine, nothing special. It's not as good as Rolling Turtles. There was one point where I thought maybe Rolling Turtle would be higher in the tier list, but that was months ago, and it turns out top speed advantage is still somewhat meaningful. Acceleration is kind of at 0.4 true, which is only 0.03 more than Titan G4. So it's definitely more of a drawback than a strength. Doesn't have much of an MTS either, so yeah, I mean Rainbow Phoenix is, I guess you could call a well-rounded lightweight machine, but it can't do much advanced tech. And that holds it back in addition to its weight and below average boost duration of 1.5 seconds. I just want to see here quickly. So I ranked Rainbow Phoenix 25th on the tier list. Let me see its current rank in the spreadsheet. It's currently ranked 22nd in the expand max speed spreadsheet. So I feel there are other machines that can overtake it eventually if it ever gets optimized. All right. Anybody want to say anything about Rainbow Phoenix or any of the other machines we recently went through?
So yeah, I mean, I feel like Rainbow Phoenix is probably a bit overrated by a lot of people.
Agreed.
Probably just because it's so cool and that player you mentioned.
Yeah, Kazum K, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see like vehicle or machine specialists.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one of the things kind of holding back the machines around it is like a lot of those mid-tier ones, such as like Wild Goose and even ones slightly above Rainbow Phoenix. Then, like on the higher tech tracks, they're just they're not going to have the most, I guess, say highest performance possible. Just because like to do a high performance shift boost ones with like a mid tier machine, that's a major commitment for a machine. While Rainbow Phoenix doesn't have to do those high tech maneuvers, so it's been able to master like Rainbow Phoenix has like really highly mastered times, where like the other machines with more complicated handling and sliding like Wild Goose and stuff still have more room to catch on Rainbow Phoenix as the time goes on.
Yeah. None of these machines so far really has a good MTS. I think the best one is either Pink Spider, maybe Queen Meteor. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I used Queen Meteor. But yeah, none of these machines in general are good with advanced tech. But that will certainly change soon where machines start benefiting more with shift boosting and can MTS to preserve its boost while gaining speed on the corners. And yeah, it can definitely use a higher max speed MRC. I mean, if it wants to be in the high tier at least, it definitely needs that elite 1100 top speed to even be considered for the A tier here. Depends on its boosting top speed too, but definitely that would get it up there for sure. But GX devs were pretty bad at balancing the game, so this is what we have. All right, after Rainbow Phoenix, we have Little Wyvern here. So compared to Rainbow Phoenix, I think its top speed stats are a little less than Rainbow Phoenix's. Let's see here. About the same boosting top speed, slightly less top speed. But the difference ultimately is its weight and ability to shift boost. It has a bad boost duration, but advanced tech, I mean, and weight in general just trumps everything else, even for the no side attack category, where you can't really MTS chain as much. Yeah, not much to say. It handles well, has good grip, but that means it doesn't have that great of an MTS. So it's limited in that regard. But otherwise, yeah, it's a well-rounded machine. But its durability is kind of bad, but doesn't matter as much with its below average weight. And acceleration is Blue Falcon acceleration, so 0.45. So it's not bad, but it's not great either. Yeah, not much to say about Little Wyvern. Just a well-rounded machine, but can't do much else. So
What? It's the only machine that can do a barrel roll.
yeah, definitely true. Some style points there. Doesn't count for anything. Its boosters does sound cool too. So there's that, despite its short booster. All right, so that was Little Wyvern at 24th. Next up, we have Mighty Typhoon. Ski-Vic has really pushed this machine to close to its limits for sure for the spreadsheet. It's the biggest thing going on for is its booster, nearly maxing out at 1700, which is the first of such machines. So that certainly makes an impact in all the courses, really, but especially the longer ones. So with the course total being the main metric for this tier list, boosting top speed, very important, very significant. Top speed, nothing to write home about at 1039. Acceleration is below average with a 0.4 base acceleration, and it's light. Can't MTS, twitchy. It's not the easiest machine to use to get the edge of dash plates because of its high turn reaction, but it's fast, and that's what ultimately matters. And I guess another thing to mention, it does gain some speed with one quick turning, so that only helps its cause. All right.
And these type of light machines with good aerial maneuvers are so good at serial gaps. You could do that extra shortcut off the island, cutting the island. So I mean, it's just great for that.
Definitely. And I'm sure I can do that gliding skip in Ordeal as well, which it's kind of hard to say how much time that glide skip saves, but I'm sure it saves some time for Mighty Typhoon. And yeah, the fact that it's like it can do the serial gap skip, even though its aerial steering isn't the greatest either. So after Mighty Typhoon, we have the Golden Fox. So yeah, Golden Fox, high acceleration, long booster. With its average weight, most of the machines here, other than Wild Goose, don't have a weight that's true great for advanced tech. 1420. Held back a lot by its poor top speed and booster. Not even 1020 for its top speed. Booster 1578. That's like definitely bottom 10, I think. But its booster is 1.8 seconds, which is pretty good. And its other main weakness is its quick turning at 100%, where it loses speed instead. So it can definitely save some time with it in the spreadsheet by reducing its settings. But yeah, good booster, but underpowered is the name of the game for Golden Fox. All right. As you can see, there are a lot of machines in the C tier. Certain machines here are very, very close in performance that I had trouble deciding.
So
And
a lot-
ultimately,
yeah. So
ultimately,
a lot of just
go ahead.
average, a lot of average performing vehicles. It seems.
Yeah. Ultimately, when I couldn't decide between a couple machines, I just picked the machine with more weight generally as the tiebreaker because of the inherent more potential machines with heavier machines have. All right, so after Golden Fox, we have Astro Robin. And yeah, Marcy, its booster, if I were to give it a grade, yeah, D sounds right. At least in terms of boosting top speed. With its acceleration, it does get good speed from dash plates. It's very effective with its dash plates, but with its booster, yeah, it's not that great. So on to Astro Robin. Not a whole lot to say. It has very good acceleration. A 0.65 base acceleration is definitely the highest so far, I think. Just for reference, machines with the highest acceleration have a base acceleration of 0.7, so it's not that far behind that. Top speed is below average. Boosting top speed is whatever. But with acceleration, it's better than most other machines with a similar boosting top speed. Below average boosting duration hurts it quite a bit. Could have been quite speedy in certain courses if it had like even a 1.7 boost duration. And the other notable thing is its high turn acceleration, so it loses quite a bit of speed when cornering, strafing. And it's another one of those machines where it loses speed when quick turning if you set it to 100%. So there's probably some room for improvement for Astro Robin runs if players start using its lower settings. The lowest it can do is 63%. Sacrifices some top speed and boosting top speed, but then its acceleration gets much better, and might start gaining some speed when quick turning. But yeah, high acceleration, kind of speedy, but low weight. Can't MTS either. And another thing to mention about Astro Robin is, especially 100%, its cornering is not that great, even when using its quick turn. It might struggle with sharper turns like the one in multiplex, but honestly, there aren't that many sharp turns in any of the courses. So if you know that quick turn, that can mitigate things a bit. But I mean, it doesn't help it for sure. So after Astro Robin, we've got Night Thunder. And yeah, Astro Robin's booster is pretty good, pretty useful. So yeah, Night Thunder, the first of the like drifty arc type machines, I feel. Well, there's Bloodhawk, but other than Bloodhawk, there's Night Thunder. Has a very high acceleration. The 0.7 base of cell is tied for the highest in the game, alongside Crazy Bear and Green Panther, I believe. Its performance of its top speed and boosting top speed are well below average, but makes up for that with its acceleration, its booster duration, and its weight of 1530. So paired with that acceleration, it can get some decent speed from shift boosting. And it can sort of MTS as well, despite its low strafe because of its really drifty characteristic. So it can benefit somewhat with that, but not too much. Really just goes to show how impactful having some weight and acceleration is, because then you'll save a ton of time in lateral shift, trident, any courses where shift boosts are aplenty. Yeah, those two machines are definitely, paired up often. Although there are some differences, mainly in terms of its weight is the main difference. But the acceleration, there's a big difference in acceleration too. But Night Thunder has both more weight and better acceleration, so that's why it's ranked like 15 places higher than Bloodhawk.
It's one of those machines that hasn't really been utilized with the off-track shift boost, just because it's like shifting with the slider is quite difficult.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
I do
slippery
think
and
though on lateral shift though, I think that's one of the machines that could break 130. It's like a few seconds away, but it's that good at getting shift boost power.
yeah, I wonder if we can get the MTS into shift boost on that one left turn. I somewhat doubt it. But if it can, then that could really help its cause for sub 130. All right, so after Night Thunder, we have Spark Moon. Has a lot of similarities to Night Thunder. It's a bit heavier, but has lower acceleration. Yeah, 90 kilograms heavier, but considerably lower acceleration, though it's still pretty good. And its acceleration means it doesn't lose much top speed when lowering its settings, which you don't want to do so, since it loses a lot of speed when quick turning at 100%. Yeah, there are multiple 1620s. I don't know how many exactly. I'm guessing since you brought it up, there are 3. Yeah, I forgot the other ones. I think Deathinker is one of them, I think. Yeah, but anyway, booster duration not as long, but it's heavier and has significantly more boosting top speed and regular top speed. So despite the very high acceleration of Night Thunder, I feel those things I just mentioned edges is what edges out Night Thunder for sure. And another notable thing about Spark Moon is her aerial steering. It's pretty sharp, so that can help it in specific scenarios. And let me show her lowest allowed settings, which is actually 53, so that'll definitely help her out in the shorter courses. Oh yeah, Wild Goose. It's a combination of its strafe turn stat. Let me bring up here quickly. Yeah, strafe turn of 40 is pretty good for a machine of its weight. And the shape of the machine matters as well, but I think it's kind of neutral on that regard. All right, so after Spark Moon, we've got Bunny Flash, rounding out the C tier. So yeah, Bunny Flash, she has okay weight, over 1400, with good acceleration, and her boosting and her top speed stats are whatever. Top speed is not that great. Boosting top speed barely breaks 1600. But she doesn't have the deliberating weakness of losing speed when quick turning at full max speed settings. So that helps her out a lot for sure. Has 25 strafe, not that great, but helps with shift boosting. Honestly, now that I think about it, maybe she should be a slightly lower, but it's too late for that. Could probably look through her times and see why I rated her that high, but yeah, so despite her underperforming top speeds, her acceleration and weight definitely saves it and brings her that high in the tier list. All right, so now we enter the B tier, where we start with machines that can either weigh a lot or have serious top speed or are good with advanced tech. So first up in 17th, we have the Blue Falcon. In the spreadsheet, it's definitely carried by CGN's insane 2-minute 4-second run on Trident. So its ranking there is definitely inflated by that one run by itself. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the best stats, doesn't have the best weight, but it has a decent MTS. I mean, honestly, the best MTS so far. And it has a decently good strafe too, which helps its potential with shift boosting mostly. But yeah, otherwise it's top speed, nothing special. Boosting top speed, underwhelming, poor boost duration. But yeah, its ability to MTS really helps it. Plus, its strafing ability raises its potential on courses like Trident.
It's all around like they made a really good job of making it like a really easy to use, just like feeling like it's a well balanced machine. Um, it's like extremely easy to shift boost with. It's got that nice rigid feel where you could shoulder it real hard back and forth between the off track
Hmm.
shift boost. So I mean, it's just one of its like best attributes is just being not great at anything, but being able to perform with it is you know easy to perform off difficult stuff with it.
Yep. Yeah, if the game had no MTSing, no shift boosting, instead of being in 17th in the tier list, it'd probably be high 20s or maybe even low 30s, to be honest. So yeah, very easy to handle, which is why it's probably this underpowered in terms of its top speeds. Uh, we'll get you Dark Schneider. Yep, there's a lot I have to say about Dark Schneider once we get there. All right, so after Blue Falcon, we have Red Gazelle. Um, it's somewhat similar to Blue Falcon, to be honest. This trades off some top speed for extra acceleration, I believe. Um, yeah, its acceleration is somewhat significantly higher, but not by a ton. Its MTS is even better than Blue Falcon's for sure. Boosting top speed is slightly lower. Top speed is slightly higher, actually. But the main thing that holds it back a bit is its drift acceleration, so loses speed when you quick turn. And its turn deceleration is kind of high as well, so even if you decide to lower its settings to start gaining some speed from quick turning, you'll then have to contend with the higher turn deceleration where you just lose speed from strafing or turning. Yeah, I mean, it does have a long boost duration, but it's weak. Its booster is weak otherwise. Its strafe is slightly not as strong as Blue Falcon's, but probably still enough to work with to um, really get a lot of off the edge shift boosts. Oh, and And Red Gazelle does have a lot of grip for sure, especially at 100%. It's unbreakable due to its turn reaction stat being 0. It looks like. Yeah, if we look at boost strength, like how much the difference between boosting top speed and regular top speed, it's definitely like low tier for sure in that aspect. And then boosting top speed itself it might be bottom 10 maybe or close to it. All right, so after Red Gazelle, we've got Green Panther. I think this is the first machine that weighs at least 2,000 kilograms. But the fact that's the first machine to appear in the tier list that's over 2,000 means it has a number of weaknesses, which I'll get into in a moment. Yeah, poor.
So all these machines are they're solid picks for just like if you're looking to just clear the Grand Prix or something. These are solid choices.
Well, if you know, I mean, Green Panther might be a notable exception, to be honest, because of its poor top speed. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, Green Panther definitely relies on advanced techniques to get to where it is in the tier list. Weighing at 2060, has very high acceleration, tied for the highest in terms of the acceleration value of 0.7. So that allows it to get insane speeds from shift boosting. I think it has like definitely a 120-ish time in lateral shift, or maybe a low 130s. In fact, we can check that right now. Let me make this a bit bigger. Yeah, a sub 130. So yeah, that's 4th best in the game among non-customs.
Wow, that's a solid time.
Yeah. And I'm sure other shift boosts in other courses that with a lot of shift boosts, there's still a lot of time to be saved with it.
Yeah, that's one of the machines that gets held back from its shoulder buttons. It's like being in sludge. It's really difficult to get those off track shift boost with it.
Yeah, really poor strafe at 20. And just for reference, 50 is the highest strafe value in Vanilla GX, which is the Quick Star. So it's less than half that. So yeah, can't really MTS. I mean, it has an MTS, but it's not that great. And it loses speed when quick turning at 100%. Its lowest allowable setting is 53, which is really low. So that will certainly help in the short courses, but not in the longer ones, really. Yeah, its top speed is less than 1,000 at that point. All right, so after Green Panther, we have. Just wondering what time is it? 9:23. We have the Mighty Hurricane. Yeah, compared to 100%, Mighty Hurricane benefits immensely from having access to the lower settings just because of its steering mainly. It has good weight, I think 1780 to be exact. Yep, 1780. Above average top speed at 1058. Boosting top speed is fine. Below average boost duration. But yeah, its weight with its strafe is not the best, but can workable at least. And then once you reduce, but its main weakness at 100% at least is its steering, but you can go as low as, I think, 60 something, or 42 even. Yeah, 42 would only be useful in the shortest of courses, but 70 is like a good middle ground. I think I used 70 in my spiral run and was able to set a 323 or something like that. Oh no. Well, I didn't do a no side attack run. I think this run was at 100%. Yeah. Yeah, 333 is not the fastest for spiral there. But yeah, its main strength is its weight. Otherwise, if it was like a lightweight machine, it'd probably be bottom of C or even D tier.
I got a random question. What track would you say is the biggest like indicator of a machine's like strength?
That's a good question because there are various different types of strengths for machines. I would say, I mean, Trident is one just because of the shift boosting. I would have to say maybe Spiral is another one because it tests out most aspects of a machine in Spiral for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I could probably only be saying that because it's my favorite course. Because Spiral is the longest course, so it doesn't really help determine machines with good acceleration because high acceleration typically means lower top speeds, and there isn't that many shift boosts in Spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Emerson, I'm reading through your message now. I'm guessing you were talking about Mighty Hurricane? Yeah, a higher strafe would give it some MTS potential for sure. All right. So Mighty Hurricane is 14th.
And Mighty Hurricane is kind of I feel like it was the machine that kind of started the expanded max speed revolution. Because I didn't even realize myself because I was just doing 100% max speeds for all the ships. Then when you see the difference of how it turns and just the way the acceleration and stuff, I'm like, well, wow, this machine at 70% is like it felt like a different machine. It was just like everything that was like wrong and sluggish and bad turning with it. That all went away once you changed it to the higher acceleration. It became a really strong machine.
Yeah, it honestly turned it from like one of the machines I don't like to use because of its debilitating turning to like honestly one of my favorite to pilot. It just handles really, really well. I mean, its handling is twitchy, but you can sort of overcome that with quick turning or drifting. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the runs I did with Mighty Hurricane and pushing this machine by reducing its settings, and quite a number of machines has that potential as well, although not as much, but still. And yeah, Green Panther with a good MTS would definitely might contend it for the spot that Crazy Bear is at for sure. Or I mean, depending how strong it is, maybe even more than that. All right, so after Mighty Hurricane, we've got Dark Schneider. So at 100% or the 89% rule for Dark Schneider, it honestly blows because it still loses a lot of speed from its quick turning, and its high drag stat makes its already poor acceleration stat even worse than what it looks like. So I'll show the 89% stats first because 100% is not viable except in Trident for the most part. Maybe Dragon Slope as well if you can get triple shift boosts. So yeah, I mean top speed 1065, that looks good. Boosting top speed 1652, that looks okay. Drift acceleration less than 0.3 or 4, that's big yikes. turn acceleration isn't the low 0.01 you typically want. And the acceleration, same as Titan G4s, but with that drag, it's probably the equivalent of Triple Z's acceleration, maybe even worse. So yeah, just awful acceleration. Yeah, the boost pickup. Yeah, pretty ranked low. I think there are, well, I don't have the exact figure, but that's definitely like bottom, probably bottom 5 for sure. But it does weigh over 2,000. I think it can, well, it can MTS chain if we are talking about side attacks. Has good strafe. Its aerial steering is pretty good as well. And if we go lower in the settings, the lowest you can go in this category is 60. So its top speed, still, it's not as great as boosting top speed is. Oh, this is the one where I want to show this table for sure, where I compare the same machine at various settings. So look at the boosting top speed. Let me make this bigger too. Boost top speed here. So 100%, 1639. At 89, 1652. Its maximum boosting top speed is at 85%. That is which of a 1655 here. And then you even go to 60%, and still not that much lower. In fact, it's still higher than Dark Schneider at 100%. So yeah, Dark Schneider at 100% is easily, even with its weight, probably bottom of C tier, held back by its acceleration and drag. But if you allow more settings, I feel it can outperform Blue Falcon, all the other machines. I definitely plan on doing a lot more runs with Dark Schneider at lower settings, just to see how much I can push it despite its drag. All right, so after Dark Schneider, might be a surprise to some, but if you think about it, maybe I can probably convince you guys of this placement of Big Fang. We have the first of the machines with over 1100 top speed here, and it's Big Fang. And it's definitely has some big weaknesses, namely its poor acceleration. It's definitely in the 0.3 range, 0.31. So that's barely better than Fire Stingrays and Space Anglers. But it makes up for that with its top speed, which helps. Though its weight is nothing special, especially even though it has a 1520 weight, the bottom tier acceleration limits the speeds it can gain from shift boosts. I mean, it can still gain some speed from dives, but 1500, it's not that significant yet. Has a decent booster length of 1.65, boosting top speed is fine. But for its acceleration, you kind of want more for it to compete with the likes of Hyperspeeder, Sonic Phantom. Gains some speed from quick turning, so there's that. Handles pretty well, though its grip is not the best. It's a machine I enjoy using, but it just doesn't have the acceleration to make it contend with the machines above it. Although the boosting sound is definitely among the coolest in the game. Alright, after Big Fang, we have Fire Stingray, who has even worse acceleration than Big Fang, but the main thing it has over Big Fang is its weight. 1960 can definitely get some speed from shift boosting at that weight despite its low acceleration. Although its strafing is awkward, so I feel its strafing is its strafing makes the machine turn, so that might make it difficult to get a lot of shift boosts consecutively. But yeah, it's over 400 kilograms heavier, which is the main reason why it's rated higher than Big Fang, despite its lower top speed, lower booster, worse acceleration. Definitely not my favorite machine to use, though. So I don't think it'll ever reach its full potential in the spreadsheet rankings.
Yeah, I would actually say it's probably among one of the most difficult machines in the game to use. It's this handling is, yeah, just really odd, and the shift boosts are difficult. The MTS is weird, and it's hard to readjust it back to straight and like drive.
Yeah,
It's just overall difficult to use.
definitely. Yeah, it's MT. I its MTS training for me is very awkward, and yeah, it does have a somewhat okay MTS. Definitely usable if you get some speed first.
The one thing by surprise though, its aerial ability is like so crisp. Once you get in the air, you can fly in any direction you want, like super well. So it's like
Yeah,
the opposite of its on ground handling.
it's surprisingly good. Yeah, even though its strafe turn stat is just a 25, which is I think similar to Blue Falcons, if I'm remembering, slightly higher than Blue Falcons, whose steering isn't that great in the air. I think the shape of the machine is the main reason why it's really maneuverable in the air, which helps it a ton in courses like Spiral to perform the skip there, and I'm sure it helps a lot in Split Oval Chill to perform the jump as well.
I just thought it was kind of interesting though in the four kind of like default machines you start with. Among those, Blue Falcon's the only one that's kind of like a normal machine. Like Fire Stingray is extremely difficult to use. Wild Goose is, pretty difficult to use with its odd handling. And even Golden Fox is like I wouldn't consider any like those other three are not like beginner machines at all. They're
Nope,
kind of
agreed.
difficult to use.
Well, I think Golden Fox handling is fine, but yeah, it's very, very underpowered, and definitely not good for beginners in the majority of the tracks. Yeah, the camera setting to 1, that's the Wild Goose camera. Or are you talking about the other camera stat there? Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it would definitely make the machine feel more responsive, I believe, is how the stat works if you set it to 1. Yeah, it would definitely change players' perception of how the machine feels or handles. Yeah. There's that too, yeah. Yeah, its quick turn definitely feels different because of that when really it's not too much different than, say, Space Anglers. Alright, so we're we're in the top 10 now. So first up at 10th place, we have Crazy Bear, whose big gut carries him to 10th place due to its weighty weight of 2220. Yeah, high weights, high acceleration is the are the primary reasons why it's that high. Has good boost duration as well, although you look at its boosting top speed and top speed, like bottom or low tier for sure in those regards. Even with its poor drift deceleration, it has a somewhat usable MTS if you put some speed first, so that can negate some of that weakness. And I feel there's still a lot of room for improvement if you decide to explore its settings. It can go down to 63%, so if you want to get the full acceleration of Crazy Bear. You're the Crazy Bear guy, Mengsk, so what do you have to say about him?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love using this machine because I mean, it's just it has really exciting gameplay. It's got the acceleration and just those massive shift boosts. I mean, I kind of like when we first started playing the game, like no one wanted to be Crazy Bear just because like our advanced techniques weren't developed. But then like once I played like Sand Ocean with it, and I broke like 130 and stuff. I'm like, oh, this machine has this machine has potential. Then it still struggles in machines unless you're doing as MTS chaining like on Spiral. Those like it really holds it, like those tracks really hold it back unless you're
Certainly.
not doing those MTS chaining. But yeah, there's a lot of courses um where Crazy Bear has the high potential. It's getting like it's holding position up there in like top 10 positions with the other with the best machines when it's able to use its advantages.
Yeah, I definitely avoided Crazy Bear at first because of the drifty feel and its poor top speeds, but I definitely enjoy it myself now whenever I get to play it because of what you said. Its high acceleration is definitely very fun to play with. Gains a lot of speed from dash plates and shift boost, true especially. And it only gets better if you ever decide to use side attacks with its chaining and the aerial side attacks. Um, yeah, it definitely has quite a with the expanded max speed settings. There's still quite a lot of room for improvement. I feel. I think sub 50 is likely in the cards for sure, but even more so for the category that allows side attacks. I might start working on that someday. We'll see. At least on my favorite courses like Spiral, Thunderola, I may do runs there for sure with side attacks.
Yeah, and who knows what someone who's better at what I get Green Plant intersection. I got like a 207 with Crazy Bear, and someone who's like mastered that course can probably really get like a low two on there if they perfect really those tunnels. So I mean, it's just a high potential machine, but it's going to require high skill because it is
Hmm.
difficult to use and get those off track shift boosts.
Yeah, definitely among the last machines I'll recommend to a beginner for sure. Um, yeah, Crazy Bear, Black Bulb, probably the most too difficult machines to fully use. All right, so we've got Crazy Bear at 10th place. Ninth place, we have Iron Tiger. Um, Tiger, it's more of a all-arounder machine. Decent top speed, 1052. Booster is fine at 1638. Boost duration 1.5, just like Blue Falcon, so nothing great there. It just has a good weight of 1780, and that lets it, gain on other lighter machines on courses with advanced tech. It doesn't have much of an MTS. Yeah, it's really the shift boost and big dives where it gains ahead out of most of the field. Um, Kind of hard to use. It's kind of twitchy handling, loses grip somewhat easily. But yeah, it's honestly, I mean, a better Blue Falcon, even if the spreadsheet doesn't reflect that yet. But you can thank CGN's Blue Falcon run for that. Isn't as good, so maybe it won't reach Blue Falcon in courses like Trident, but I feel overall it's enough to merit this position this high in the tier list. Does it have a fault of times? Where is it ranked? Yeah, it's above Crazy Bear right now, so thus the higher placement than everyone else to this point. All right, so that ends the B tier. Bottom of A tier, we have the machine that sort of started all of this. We have Twin Norita. As you guys may know, it is famous for its absurd booster, top speed of 1742, by far the fastest so far. That alone carries it to its low A tier placement. I think the next best boosting top speed is probably Mighty Typhoon, which doesn't even break 1700. So that's a big edge it has over most of the machines in this game. Its acceleration is decent, 0.6. Well, more than decent. That's well above average, like top 10 territory. But it has poor top speed. It's weak. Lightest machine in the game. Definitely worth mentioning. So, I mean, with its acceleration, it still gains, I mean, somewhat meaningful speed from shift boost, but it's not that great. And with its poor strafe, it can't do the edge shift boost as well. And it's small too, so that doesn't help it in that regard. But yeah, it's just super fast in boost slaps, which carries it all the way to A tier. Well, yeah, Fat Shark does break 1700 for sure, but I'm just talking about machines that have been put in the tier list so far. So yeah, Mighty Typhoon has the next best booster, and then after that might be, in terms of top speed, I think it's Big Fang maybe, but with its poor acceleration, there are still leagues apart in terms of booster. Well, yeah, definitely worth mentioning that Twin Norita is sort of the machine that started the whole, doing runs with off-meta machines, and then Giselle created a spreadsheet to follow up with the forum topic that Uchiha Madao made, and then the rest is pretty much history. All right, so after Twin Norita, we have a machine that's practically its opposite in terms of its strengths and weaknesses, and that is Great Star. As some of you guys know, its MTS is easily the best so far. Has a decent weight as well, 1800s, I believe, which makes, so that's with its high acceleration and high strafe, more than makes up for its poor top speed and poor booster. Top speed just 1018, boosting top speed not even 1600, and below average boost duration. But the 40 strafe just opens up a lot of things for this machine. Can get all the shift boosts you want, basically, only limited by your skill. And the MTS really helps preserve its boost to help, you save boost for later and make it last longer than it normally would for most of the other machines in this game. and it's definitely one of the most fun machines for me to use. It handles pretty well, has good turning, and MTSing is like my favorite tech in the game, and is what makes F-Zero GX incredibly fun for me. So yeah, Great Star is pretty awesome. So after Great Star, we've got Hyperspeeder. You can call it like the low acceleration version of Torita. Um, it has low acceleration but high top speeds. Fairly a strong booster as well. Another machine that breaks 1700 for its booster, so that helps it a lot in longer courses, coupled with its high top speed. Has good handling and loses practically no speed when turning. And its weight is below average at this point. But yeah, just a high speed machine with poor acceleration, but its high speed is what pushes it to 6th place in the tier list for no side attacks.
Nice.
Yep. And it's definitely one of the machines it's the first machine I specialized with other than the meta machines. A lot of those runs are outdated, have been beaten, but yeah, had a lot of. I enjoy using this machine because you can go pretty fast with it if you can MT boost well. So after Hyperspeeder, we have its counterpart, Sonic Phantom. So Sonic Phantom, even though Sonic Phantom has slightly less top speed, a slightly weaker booster, but acceleration is considerably higher. And even though it weighs considerably less, that acceleration makes all the difference in the world. And it has a tiny MTS, but nothing to write home about. But yeah, it's also its weight holds it back from the higher positions.
This machine's really good on slim line slits, right?
Definitely, it's really a top 5 in that course. Let's see. Yeah, top 4, right behind Death Anchor with a low 140. So yeah, it's very, very good at Phantom Road. Say its other best courses. So if we look here, yeah, 5th in Twist Road, 4th in Multiplex, 3rd in Serial Gaps, 3rd in Intersection, and that has a number of 4ths. Also 3rd in Cylinder Wave. So yeah, Hyperspeeder does beat in certain tracks, but in general, Sonic Phantom is slightly the better performing machine. All right. 4th place, we have Wild Boar. Wild Boar. The only reason it's higher than those two other machines is because of its weight, weighing at 2110. Yeah, its top speed matches or slightly exceeds Hyperspeeders. Boosting top speed is, I think, similar to Sonic Phantom's. Has a good boost duration of 1.8 seconds. But its weight, even though its strafe is awful, that weight really helps it push above those true machines. Although it definitely is held back by its very, very poor aerial maneuverability. I found that it really holds back its potential in courses like Serial Gaps and any course with a big jump. Especially, well, I mean, I was thinking about with side attacks, but even without side attacks, it hurts it when doing certain strategies that other machines can pull off. All right, and I think at this point the tier list becomes somewhat predictable. So in third place, we have Death Anchor. Death Anchor is just basically a faster version of Sonic Phantom Hyperspeeder. And has slightly more weight too at 1620. Yep, break 1700 for its boosting top speed. Has the highest top speed yet, I believe, at 1118. Doesn't lose much speed from quick turning. Booster duration is just under Titan G4's boost duration. So yeah, you can call it like it's similar to custom machines with Titan G4, but just slightly less, just not as well performing as machines with that custom booster in terms of top speed and boosting. Its main weakness is its body, but I mean, that doesn't matter too much in terms of the tier list.
So that's number 3.
Yep. All right, number 2. And I'm going to rename this tier list to Double S because it's just that much better than the rest of the machines. You've got Black Ball. Black Ball, highest top speed in the game, very heavy, has a strong MTS, pretty good strafe. Yeah, it's just faster, stronger. You know, the lyrics to that song. Although it is the hardest machine to use in the game, and it loses a lot of speed when quick turning, which you'll need to mitigate with MT and MTSing. Definitely not the machine I'll just recommend to beginners or even to anyone aspiring to be a good player. I would stick with Fat Shark and the customs to learn the fundamentals first. Definitely do use it once you want to start and get used to MTSing. But when starting out the game, I would avoid this machine. Better, faster, stronger, and harder. And then last but not least, how do I create a tier? How do I add a row? Oh, yes.
Nice. Yeah, that's
just
fitting.
X. Honestly, it's like at least 2 tiers above Black Ball for the no side attack category. Yep.
Oh, it
That Shark hole
looks about
holds.
right.
Yep. Holds the most world record of any machine. Very heavy. Above average acceleration. High top speed. Strong booster. Boost duration. What more can you say about Fat Shark? We all know and love him. Sam has a tattoo of Fat Shark because of it, and its design, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just just amazing machine all around. I mean, there's a reason we use it on so many tracks.
Yep, they made him super overpowered, but try to give him a weakness with its worst in-game turn deceleration.
Yeah, and there are
No, that
a handful of tracks where it's beaten by Black Bull.
Yep, there's that for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Without that turn deceleration, it might be the world record machine in the majority of tracks with its ability to MTS chain then. Because it loses speed, or loses a lot of speed as you MTS chain with it. So yeah, glad they gave that weakness. And I feel there's some potential for Fat Shark at lower settings, especially at 89%. It also has an acceleration where its top speed is barely impacted by reducing its settings. And because it has a high max speed stat value, that strength becomes even better. Let me just show here. So Fat Shark at 100% has a top speed of 1009. but at 89%, it only goes down by 2. And even as far down as 70%, it's still over 1100. So there might be some tracks where it's more optimal to use at sub 100% settings. But, as Fat Shark is the meta machine, the Fat Shark records are very, very tough to beat. So we'll see if that ever happens. But yeah, and that is the tier list for no side attacks, expand max speed. Any final thoughts? Any disagreements or any surprising picks in your guys'
Well, the
opinions?
interesting thing, I guess, because on how to earn the machines, like all the AX machines and stuff like that, a lot of them like fall in the lower categories, and like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they give you a chapter 4 story mode. You unlock Fat Shark out of nowhere, and they just give you a beast.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's not like you had to do some kind of like the most difficult achievement in the game. They're just like chapter 4. All right, here's the super machine, and it's just like crazy.
Yeah, and they hide the most popular design machine of Rainbow Phoenix behind Chapter 1, which is among the harder ones, and at least for beginners, it performs pretty well, so... Yeah, it's
You
a
think
shame
it'd be more like the golden eye. You gotta beat like the hardest thing to get invincible, but just to get the most OP thing here, you do like the most simple story mode stage. So it kind of makes you wonder what the people developing the game were really intending with it, to be that much better than the other machines, and just like not really have like a true like skill test to achieve it.
Yeah, that dev team didn't really get the concept of making the extra content machines be overpowered. It would have been cool to have more machines be the meta, but oh well. I mean, there's still some decent variety with custom machines, and that's one of the main reasons why I made the Unleash mod for sure. All right, let me save this. And today's date is the 31st, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no problem, MRC. Definitely a passion project of mine. And I've started working a bit on it as well. Can't say when it'll be released, the next update, but I'm hoping it will come out this year. All right. How do I make a new tier list? Right here. Tier list.
So now we're gonna cover the side attacks tier list.
Yep. And I'll try to go through it a bit faster since a lot of what I said it applies for this tier list.
Cool.
How do I reset this? I guess
I think I
just
saw a reset button just a little bit lower down.
Thank you. All right. So just like before, I'll start with the bottom 10. So this time, in 32nd place, we have the White Cat in E tier. Yeah, she doesn't gain too much from side attacks, and that will be the case for the majority of the machines in the E tier. I mean, she does weigh over 1,000, which is more than a number of the machines, but still. And then after White Cat, we have Pink Spider. Where are you? And after Pink Spider, we have Groovy Taxi. Yeah, I think Groovy Taxi weighs more than these two machines. It's just its top speeds and its booster that makes it fall behind them. I think it only weighs like 100, around 100 more than these two machines. And then after, wait, really? That's interesting. But yeah, that makes sense. Magic Seagull behind Groovy Taxi. Again, it weighs more than these three machines, so you'd think it'd be higher when their top speeds are similar, but it can't shift boost off the edge, thus its placement behind them.
So these machines, they aren't necessarily like MTS chaining. They're probably like side attack turning and stuff, or like
So yeah, these machines they can't really MTS chain well still, despite with the added benefit of the side attacks. And these machines are also light. Um so that's why the same machines that are rated in the bottom 10 are still bottom 10.
okay,
Uh,
cool.
Yep. And then behind the Seagull, we've got Wonder Wasp. Yeah, despite it has a decent booster, but because of its weight, that holds it back a lot. Um, the other machines definitely overcomes Wonder Wasp boosting with the ability to gain speed from side attacks and whatnot. And just like in the no side attack list behind Wonder Wasp, we have King Meteor. All right, and then after King Meteor, down to the F tier. I think it's the same order as the no side
Yeah,
attack tier list. So we've got Space Angler, Super Piranha, Cosmic Dolphin, and Silverette. Where's Silverette? Well, there it is. All right, so 31st place. Yeah, the lower half of the tier list is very similar. We've got Rolling Turtle. Oh no, it's in the same tier, I believe. Yep. Wait, Rolling Turtle below Bloodhawk. Well, I guess with side attacks, it can start benefiting from MTS chaining, and Bloodhawk is heavier, so I suppose that makes sense. Does it? Doesn't make sense. Maybe not. Nah, I'll just stick with that. Yeah, I think now I remember when I was sort of calculating like the estimated optimal times. It was very close between Rolling Turtle, Bloodhawk, and Deep Claw. Like it was practically tied in my view. So yeah, Bloodhawk with side attacks helps it raise its position quite a bit, but not that much. So after Deep Claw, we enter the D tier. We still got Wild Goose this low, even with its above average weight. Um, it's weird handling and strafe behavior just really limits its potential, I feel. Even though side attacks really helps it in courses like Dragon Slopes or Slope. Yeah. After Wild Goose, we have Rainbow Phoenix. Then after Rainbow Phoenix, Mighty Typhoon drops a few spots compared to the no side attack list because it's very light, so it doesn't benefit as much with side attacks compared to heavier machines. After Mighty Typhoon, we have Mad Wolf. It weighs close to 1500, so it gets good amount of benefit with side attacks in courses with jumps. So that alone brings it up quite a few positions. I should have compared the rankings between no side attacks and side attacks. I guess I'll do that at some in the near future, or once I go through this list. After Mad Wolf, we have Queen Meteor. Then we have Astro Robin. Say Bunny Flash is better than Astro Robin, mainly because it doesn't lose much speed from quick turning. Does it? Let me remind myself quickly. Yeah, I think its drift acceleration is 0.8 if I'm remembering right. Yeah, so even though Astro Robin seems faster on paper, Bunny Fat Flash ends up being faster, I feel, because of that, of the drift acceleration.
So MRC is asking what kind of tech opens up with side attacks, and I'd say it's ideally it's MTS chaining, but it's also during side attack dives, as well as on straightaway, like some straightaway sections you can side attack turn.
Yeah, you can strafe or do drift turns with side attacks, which can save some time, especially for the machines that don't have a useful MTS. That can help out a lot of machines cut some time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the big things are definitely MTS chaining and side attack dives for sure. Like in Dragon Slope, for example, the best machines can land the final jump going like 2500 if you do them well. And for a late machine, you like Twin Narita, for example, or Space Angler, you'd be lucky to land going 1500, I feel, because of the weight.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So after Bunny Flash, we've got Spark Moon. I'd say Spark Moon is like the first machine that can benefit a decent amount from MTS chaining, but its poor top speed and poor booster sort of puts her this low. Then we've got Little Wyvern, who beats out Spark Moon despite her ability to MTS chain just due to its speed, to its top speeds. Then we've got Golden Fox. I haven't really tried MTS chaining with Golden Fox, but I think it sort of struggles somewhat with it. I'm sure it can benefit in some way, but it's still not great at MTS chaining. And then at the top of D tier, we have Night Thunder. Can definitely benefit with MTS chaining, but again, it's not the heaviest machine, so it doesn't benefit as much compared to a machine like Crazy Bear. And then bottom of C tier, we have Twin Narita falling from A tier in the no side attack tier list. I mean, it's still competitive, but I feel it loses out a lot on not having side attacks. Like currently, yeah, go ahead.
So it can't utilize them very well.
I mean, it's the latest machine in the game, so no, not really. Even I mean, I'm sure it gains some speed from dives, but definitely benefits the least from side attack dives of all the machines. It's currently ranked 12th in the spreadsheet, but its tier placement here is 17th. So I feel there are a number of machines that can eventually overtake Twin Narita in the spreadsheet. And yeah, it can't MTS at all, so it's MTS chaining. It can't do it at all.
Mm-hmm. Non-existent.
Then we have Red Gazelle. It might be able to MTS chain somewhat, but its high turn deceleration sort of limits that, especially as you lower its settings. Then we've got Blue Falcon. Again, it's lightweight, so while it gains some speed from side attack dives, it's not as much as most of the other machines above it. And it can MTS chain, but only after you get a dash plate, and then boost laps you'd want to be boosting anyway. So its MTS chain uses are limited for Blue Falcon as well. They got Big Fang. Doesn't have much of an MTS chain with side attacks, and it only weighs around 1400. It does have lower acceleration, which does help it with side attack dives, because side attack dives benefits lower acceleration machines more than higher acceleration machines because of the gap between each side attack. You lose speed, and high acceleration machines lose speed more quickly than low acceleration machines. So there's that, but its weight is just not high enough for it to be higher than 14th in the list. And it's because of that weight is why Mighty Hurricane is above Big Fang. It weighs a good 300 more, and that just benefits a lot more from side attack dives compared to Mighty Hurricane. After Mighty Hurricane, we've got Green Panther. Again, it weighs a lot, so benefits more from side attacks. And it can do some MTS chaining as well, I believe. It's still not to the level of Black Bull, but it saves time on lap 1, especially. After Green Panther, were you gonna say something, or was that?
Oh no, I was just staying cool.
Yep. Yep. Mighty Hurricane just doesn't have an MTS nor an MTS chain. I mean, you can try it, but it's just not gonna do much for you at all. After Panther, let me make sure it's still. Yep, still in C tier. We've got Dark Schneider. Yep. Yeah, with it weighs over 2000, so it gains a lot of speed from SA dives. I'm sure it can get some benefit from MTS chaining. Although, let me check its turn deceleration stats. I'll do it here. Yeah, so its turn deceleration goes higher as you reduce your settings, so it might be only marginally effective at lower settings because it breaches the 0.02 threshold at 70%, which has somewhat of an effect on a good effect on that MTS chaining for a heavy machine. It would be one thing if it was a lighter machine, then it wouldn't impact it as much, but it's a heavy machine, so MTS chaining has limited use for Dark Schneider. But the big thing is the SA dives. It gains a ton from that, which puts it at 11th place. Yeah, mostly dives. Also on the ground true somewhat. Since it can't MTS, then it'll want to side attack the corners that it can to get marginal time savings there. And then at the top of C tier, we have Fire Stingray. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Dark Schneider does end up being better than Fire Stingray in this category. But I just put it above Dark Schneider due to its higher top speeds and somewhat better booster. Well, yeah, it's better, but the low acceleration makes them closer than what it should be. And now we enter the B tier, and we start off with Sonic Phantom. Even though it can't MTS chain very well, its placement isn't hurt that much because of its pure top speeds. And similar thing goes for Hyperspeeder. Hyperspeeder does overtake Sonic Phantom because it gets more benefit from side attack dives. So that coupled with its stronger booster is what allows Hyperspeeder to outperform Sonic Phantom once you add side attacks to the mix. Then we have Iron Tiger. With its 1700 weight, it definitely gains significant speed from side attack dives. And I'm sure it can NTS chain somewhat, especially if you hit a dash plate before you do. And it's the reason why I was able to beat the Staff Ghost in Sonic Oval with Iron Tiger because of its MTS chaining. And then at the top of B tier, we have Crazy Bear. It definitely is the best MTS chainer of the machines put on the list so far. Definitely can save a lot more time than its current total because most of the runs were done by Mengsk, who doesn't use side attacks. It could probably save at least a good minute if I remember my estimations right from its current total time of where was it? Yeah, just over 49 minutes total. It might have the potential to get a sub 48-minute total time when utilized to its full potential, which would bring it to 5th place. Although 5th place is currently held by Wild Boar, but Wild Boar is next up in low A tier. Essentially just it's heavy, so it gains speed from side attack dives, although, like I said earlier, its poor strafe turn limits its maneuverability in the air, which limits it when trying to pull off, for example, the serial gap skip, the ordeal jump skip, and a couple others, I'm sure. But it can still gain a lot of speed with its SA dives, and it benefits greatly from its MTS chaining, as I definitely demonstrated that in Thunder Road. This is the note essay, where it's has a 253, ranked 5th. Although Death Anchor still beat because it's just that fast. And then after Wild Boar, we have Death Anchor. Doesn't really MTS chain well, but it does benefit from the SA dives. But Great Star overtakes Death Anchor because it can MTS chain pretty well. It's heavier too, so more speed from SA dives. Yeah, it's when it comes to side attacks, it's mainly those two things that determines whether a machine are placed higher or lower compared to the no side attacks tier list. Yeah, so Great Star is definitely the first machine that, where you can save several seconds with MTS chaining. So that just leaves the predictable final two. So I consider Great Star in the A+ tier, while Death Anchor and Wild Boar are in just the A tier. Black Bull, I consider, is triple S tier. So like a whole 3 to 4 tiers higher than Great Star. So Great Star's current course total is 47 minutes, 19 seconds, with room to improve, of course. But that doesn't come close to Black Bull's total of 42 minutes and 21 seconds. So that's a whole 5-minute gap there, which is massive. I'm sure there's still some room for improvement for Black Bull, though a lot of its times are very, very strong, done by the top players of the game. And finally, even though Black Bull has a great MTS chaining and gains good speed from side attack dives, it can't even be in the same tier as Fat Shark. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Although I'd say it might be just one tier higher than Black Bull. Although probably true still.
And to be clear, Fat Shark doesn't benefit all that much from side attacks, does it?
No, like its benefit is much less compared to Black Bull. Because eventually you'll just start slowing down too much where it doesn't become worth it to MTS chain. It's just purely from his high weight, its absurd booster acceleration, and the SA dives definitely pulls it further from Black Bull. But yeah, this is the final tier, my current tier list for expand max speed with side attacks. Definitely not perfect, especially for the case of the no side attack tier list since the timesheet hasn't been filled out yet. But I feel pretty good about this list. There are definitely some things I might be, second guessing even right now, but this is the current tier list for F-Zero GX here.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate you showcasing this. It was really interesting to watch.
Yep. And I hope everybody enjoyed this discussion here, and yeah, we'll see how it changes over time. And actually, I also did make a tier list like a couple of years ago, I think. So just to show how much things have changed, how much my views have changed since then. So for the side attack category or tier list, Mighty Hurricane is definitely the one that improved the most compared to my last tier list, or among the most. And then Big Fang dropped down 5 positions while Mighty Hurricane gained 5 positions. Queen Meteor is the big winner here, mainly because of the additional settings allowed in the category with an increase of 8 positions. Can Fat Shark beat Black Bull and Slimline Slits? Definitely not. It's still, I'd say it's definitely one of Black Bull's best courses, and comparatively one of Fat Shark's weaker courses in the game. If we look here, I mean, this run is probably still not the most optimized. It barely beats out Death Anchor here in this course. Well, this is the no side attack one. Here's the side attack one. Yeah, it's a full 15 seconds slower than Black Bull in Slimline Slits. If we go and we could quickly check out the rank summary here to view each machine's best and worst ranks. So Black Bull's worst courses, Cylinder Wave. Yeah, that makes sense because you really can't MTS in that course. And Black Bull loses speed when quick turning, so it's held back in that course. Serial Gaps, its poor strafe turning holds it back there as well. And Fat Shark used to have a course where it was in 3rd place, but I think that has changed since then. Otherwise, Fat Shark is always in 1st or 2nd place. Yep, I'll share you the links, MRC. I'll share you my Google Drive folder containing all of the spreadsheets for Vanilla and GX Unleashed. And yeah, I also want to do a comparison between the no side attacks tier list and the side attacks tier list. So let me make that quickly. I wish I thought to do this ahead of time, but that's okay. And then let me just make a quick table here. This is without side attacks, I think. Yeah. No, this is with side attacks. Yeah, say.
So what are you comparing?
The placements between the no side attack tier list and the tier list with side attacks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just it'll be the last thing I do unless we want to start talking about Unleashed, but it's getting kind of late, I think.
Yeah, we could save that for another night.
No, it'll be easier for me to just make another one here. I gotta add some. Do this. Then we just do the difference. So all right, so yeah, Torita loses out a lot. Loses 9 position in the side attacks tier list. And Bunny Flash loses quite a fair amount. Crazy Bear gains 4. So does Great Star. Yeah, the rest seem to hover around 2 to 3. Bunny Flash loses 4. Little Wyvern surprisingly gains 4. Just goes to show. Even a few hundred extra kilograms over other machines can really make a big difference. Mad Wolf gains 5 for similar reasons. Wonder Wasp, with its low weight, loses 5. So does King Meteor. Bloodhawk gains 6. Surprising. Well, yeah, Bloodhawk gains 6. Yeah, that somewhat makes sense, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
I'd
Awesome.
say, yep, thanks for recording and helping me set this up, Sam. Yeah, I've always wanted to do like a full feature, like discussion on a tier list and make a spent some time making a accurate tier list. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. You did a great job. I appreciate it. I'll definitely go back, rewatch this, and learn a bit about these machines a little bit more in depth.
Yep, there's a lot to learn for sure, and we still haven't really optimized everything, so there's still some surprises to be found, I'm sure.
All right. Well, if you're watching, thank you, and have a good night.